Welcome to Insider Chatter, brought to you by Geekly Goods Live. Leo's not here today, so we are taking over his channel while he's on vacation. My name is Mike, aka the Novice Cinephile. I'm joined with two awesome dudes today. Nate, he knows movies. How you doing,
Hi.
buddy?
Doing good. Ready to talk some Clayface, Invincible, and of course, Miami Vice. So,
Ooh, yeah, we gotta talk Miami Vice. That's a really fun announcement. Let us know, you guys, what you want us to talk about in the chat. We're already getting chats in here. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And of course, for the first time on the show, Aiden, how you doing, buddy? Tell the folks about yourself.
Oh man, to tell the folks about myself, geez, that's gonna be good. Hi, yeah, I'm Aiden. I am I've known Mike and Nate for quite a while because they were my bosses over at Collider, and I still consider them my bosses to this very day, to be totally honest. And currently, I'm a news editor over at Collider, and like Nate in his profile says, I also like movies quite a bit. Love just about everything. Sorry, I didn't come rehearsed or have anything prepared to give any sort of introduction. But yeah, news editor at Collider, and that's yeah. Excited to talk about the movies and whatnot.
We've got a lot of news to get to, so I'm sure you've been covering it all week, especially with that Clayface trailer.
I've been up for the last 38 hours, pretty much. That's not even a bit. It's not a joke.
You had CinemaCon last week too, right? I'm sure that was
we
a
had
lot.
CinemaCon last week, which we had a lot from that. CinemaCon sometimes we don't usually get like a ton of stuff because a lot of it is very like insider intensive. This year there was tons though.
Yeah.
Today in particular though, there was just news after news after news coming in. So it's been a whirlwind. So I'm sure we'll have stuff to talk about besides the stuff that we have listed with Invincible and Daredevil and Clayface because lots of stuff going down.
Yeah. If you guys want to catch up on all the things, the socials are on the screen for everybody. Follow for their work. And also subscribe to Geekly Goods. Leo's going to always be covering the news here on the daily, and subscribe to the chatter after because Nate and I have a lot of stuff cooking up over there too. Brandon as well when he decides to show up to work. We've got some various topics to get to. I almost want to save Invincible for later because it's going to be like a big season review type discussion. So I think we should start off with some of our newsy tidbits. Clayface got a trailer. The first trailer in the DCU for a film that's not Superman family related. So I honestly think this is kind of a big deal for the DC universe because guess what, guys? This movie did not feel like a James Gunn movie. It did not feel like a Guardians of the Galaxy ripoff.
I would disagree a little bit with that because it's certainly when it comes to James's recent stuff, certainly this feels very different. But when it comes to his earlier stuff, thinking like Slither is the biggest thing that really popped out. I got a lot of Slither vibes when we see some of the weird gross out visuals because Slither is like very much like a body horror gross out movie, and that is James's first movie, isn't it? Was that or Super first? I think
Slither was first, I think. Yeah. I'm going to pull up some footage. It's going to have to be muted, of course. But you guys talk about the trailer. Nate, you go first. What'd you think of Clayface?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I actually will ditto with Aiden where James kind of does have experience with, body horror. He loves body horror. Trauma is a lot of body horror. But, I mean, this is definitely not one that he's even like Supergirl in the trailers, even though it's not him at the script. You could tell it's very James Gunn humor versus this feels like a horror movie. Like, I feel like the letterbox, I speak as a letterbox snob, but like if this had an A24 logo like slapped on it, some of them would be like, this is high art. But I like the trailer. Didn't give a lot, which I didn't expect. It doesn't come out till October, and it's not like this is a mega budget movie. It just costs $40 million. But I do appreciate just the completely different vibe shift, because yes, we've gotten villain movies before, but they're always kind of in the mold of every other superhero movie. Joker is an exception, but that's also like we were talking earlier in the week. It's like Joker was made because Warner Brothers was like, we like money, Joker makes money. And then Todd Phillips was like, I made you money with The Hangover. I want to make a Joker movie. And that's how that got made. Versus this, it was Mike Flanagan wrote a script. He's like, I can't direct it for some reason. But here's this. James Gunn was like, oh, cool. I want to make this, with DC Studios. And that's how this was made. And I think that's a cool way to kind of navigate making like a superhero universe where it's like you talked about it a lot with me with saying it's like, yeah, this isn't probably going to overlap with anything. Yeah, Clayface showed up in Creature Commandos, but we don't even know if that's the same one. And I just thought it looked really cool. I love body horror. I used to be a very squeamish person, but I've just gotten used to body horror so much. I think just like watching all the Saw movies in a day during COVID kind of did that to me. And then getting into even like a few years ago, watching all the Terrifier movies. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm kind of unfazed by it all. And I love body horror. So I'm in.
Yeah, that's fair. Aiden, what did you think when you saw this trailer?
Oh, I thought a lot of things, and all of them were good things, because I think one of the most interesting things that James Gunn is doing with this universe is that so far every project has not felt like it was even the same tone so far. We had Superman, which is like much more of like the quintessential, superhero hopeful type of movie. We have Supergirl, which even though we haven't seen it yet, looks to be much more banking in on like the sci-fi kind of space opera type of thing. And then we get to Clayface, which feels like not only is it a full-blown body horror movie, but also it is something on a much, much like significantly smaller scale than anything we have seen before. The other thing that was interesting to me about it is that this is not a movie that was on James Gunn's initial slate when he announced what he had coming up for the DC universe, and where you have like, Marvel, who is so beholden to that slate, even though changes do happen every once in a while too. It feels like they really try to stick with that plan.
Set on making Inhumans happen, man.
They did make it happen. It just became whatever it became. But like that's what I'm saying, where I'm like, they still like try to stick with those ideas. But yeah, I like that there is a lot more fluidity when it comes to this DCU so far. The other thing that I also really liked about it is that this trailer is only 1 minute long. It is not a 2 minute and 30-second trailer like so many others are. I think the biggest epidemic that is killing like movies and trailers today, it's not even so much just ticket prices getting more expensive or anything like that. It's because there's just not a lot of incentive to go see a movie when people see a trailer and they feel like they've seen the whole movie. One of the most infamous example, I must have told Mike, you and Nate this at some point. I would be shocked if I hadn't, but one of my least favorite movies of all time is Batman v Superman. I can go on for days and days talking about that movie. And one of the many reasons for it is like the second trailer for the movie shows Doomsday, shows Wonder Woman, shows them working together to fight. This is my microphone. It's on my Sunset Sarsaparilla bottle. The movie called Batman v Superman has the trailer where they show what happens after they fight.
Yeah. Is she with you?
Is there no issue with that? So this was the total, to put that rant to an end, this was the total antithesis of that, where I have no idea where the plot's going. I have no idea where the story's going. I just know that there is a clay-faced man. And that's just, I like being able to go into a movie not exactly knowing what to expect from it.
Aiden, I do have one question for you. Is she with you?
Oh my God. Jesus.
I thought she was with you, and then it just shows them back to back.
Back to back. Like, okay, I guess we're not fighting anymore. It's the plot's ruined.
We're not gonna spiral into a BVS dissertation, but and we were talking about this off stream, Nate, in another chat, where it's like, I like that DC Studios is running like a studio and not a franchise. Marvel runs like a franchise where you need to see every installment in the series to get the full picture and to fully enjoy it. And I'm glad that there's this horror movie, and I'm not a huge horror guy. I was like, this horror movie's over there for the horror fans, and I can partake And if I want to, cool. The dude showed up in Creature Commandos. That interconnectivity is there for the super fans, but also it's like I never have to watch Clayface if I don't want to. Or I never have to watch Superman and I can watch Clayface. And I think that for the long term is going to help DC, where I know Marvel burnt a lot of people out, where it's like, especially in that COVID era, that Disney Plus kind of phase 4 mess that we ended up in, a lot of stuff forced that to happen. But like, if you didn't want to watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you were lost, because guess what? There's a new Captain America and a whole ordeal happened and you're kind of forced into it. Or you have to watch Loki to understand who Kang is, who's the big bad, and now he's not. And so it's like, I appreciate not being forced to watch things that I don't want to see, and I can just pick and choose when I want to experience in this universe. And Clayface looks really good. Like, this teaser trailer doesn't feel like a DC movie at all. Mm-hmm. Like, if until you get to the end, I don't even know if it has the DC. Yeah, it has the DC Studios logo above the title card. But like, until you get to that point, it doesn't feel like a DC movie. And I think that is amazing, because Marvel kind of cheats a little bit. And this is not a diss at Marvel. It's just a different way of operating, where it's like, it's a political thriller, but a Marvel movie. It's a space comedy, but a Marvel movie. And it's like, Marvel, they have their base formula, and then they bring in other genres and put their Marvel twist on it. And for the most part, that's really enjoyable, and I have no problem with it. But I like how DC's just like, well, no two DC movies are going to feel the same, you know, unless they're probably direct sequels like James Gunn making Man of Tomorrow, you know.
Well, I mean, one of the things I remember when I went and saw Multiverse of Madness, one of the people that was at the theater, it's like, Marvel made their first horror movie. And I'm like, just because it's Sam Raimi does not make it horror. Does that make Oz the Great and Powerful? Or I love Sam Raimi, but like, come on. That movie was not scary. Maybe, you know, if I was like 7, I would definitely be kind of terrified of the way like Scarlet Witch moves. But like, I remember even like IMDb labeled it horror, and I'm like, it's not a horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and New Mutants is the first Marvel horror movie, so that's just correct.
It's all connected, right? So yeah, now it's retroactively canon. I want to, before we...
New Mutants is like technically like a Logan prequel. Yeah. Like, it's directly in that world.
I want to reference Tyler's comment here. Sony would have made him earn the clay, and he turned it to Clayface at the very end of the movie. Yeah, probably. You know, then there's not going to be any reference of Batman. I want to take a second, and I'm gonna stir the pot. I'm sorry, I got to do this. Merger Bros Unite. Matt Reeves is a producer on all things Batman. And that inherently doesn't make me think this is all connected to the Batman 2 or whatever. But do you guys remember on the set of this movie, the Batman like graffiti is just the Pattinson logo?
Yeah.
Is that ever going to come up, or do you think they're going to retroactively just like make it the Keaton logo? And it's like, oh, we messed up. Don't acknowledge that.
You know me. I'm a full on, and I've gotten flack for it. I'm a full on merger bro. I don't care if that community has gotten toxic or whatever. Look, people just want one Batman, and we have a perfectly good Batman right now. Maybe one of the best we've ever had, if you ask certain, you know, fans. I mean, I'm still a Bale guy through and through, but like, I love Pattinson. Why would I need another Batman? You know?
Yeah, it doesn't have the benefit that like the Spider-Verse movies do, where like it's very clearly like these are separate multiversal versions of Spider-Man. Like if there's one Batman over here and then there's another very different Batman, I think it's just gonna like kind of dilute everything. I feel like first of all, I was confused at first when I heard Merger Bros. I'm like, are we talking about the Paramount Warner Brothers merger? But like now I know we're talking about the Batman, the Pattinson merger, which. Yeah, it just feels like this Batman is still so fresh and feels so interesting. It feels like there's so many places they could take him that, I don't know. And, you know, when I heard that they wanted to, you know, introduce Damian Wayne with the next chapter, I was like, I kind of don't want like another like super, super experienced and like older Batman. Like, I feel like I'd rather like grow with Batman a little bit more before we get to that point. I think actually the smartest thing to do would be to have Matt Reeves finish his trilogy as the way he planned it. And then after that, you can move into other storylines like the Brave and the Bold storyline and all that.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Like you bring up a point of I don't want to experience Batman. I think Bat God is what comic book fans have dubbed him, right? Where it's like he can do anything. He's the greatest detective. He's the smartest in the verse. With prep time, he can beat Thanos. And it's like,
yeah, he can, Mike. What do you mean?
but he actually can. Do you in the comics, Nate? I know you're not a huge comic guy, but there's a story where Batman makes like a God Killer armor, and he goes to Apocalypse and he beats Darkseid's ass.
Hell yeah! Send me this comic.
I will. It's actually a Damian Wayne comic, so I'll get that to you. But I think if we're gonna do that, I'd like to see him grow and learn from his mistakes, and then we can flash forward and say, oh, he's experienced, he's seen it all. That's one thing that I'm gonna keep glazing the DC animated universe, right? But that's one thing Batman the Animated Series did so well is if you watch Batman the Animated Series, Batman loses quite a bit in fights. Like he doesn't just beat random goons all the time either. If there are like 5 of them, he struggles in that fight. There are episodes where it's like he's not gonna really beat Mr. Freeze until he like spills chicken noodle soup on him and like messes up his suit. But it's like all that experience from 4 seasons of BTAS carries over into Justice League, and so when you get Bat-God in Justice League Unlimited, it feels earned, and it's like, well, of course he knows how to handle this because we've seen him grow over the last decade. I kind of want that in the movies too, where it's like, I think the perfect, and this is why the merger idea thing works, the perfect idea to me is Robert Pattinson can play young Batman, and these can be prequels. And then we can do a trilogy. Matt Reeves can just do his own thing, and then we can just say, 10 years later. And it can still be Robert Pattinson, because Robert Pattinson is almost 40. He just looks really young. He can just play older Batman. Just put a streak of gray in his hair like Doctor Strange, and he's good to go.
I did actually just watch The Batman again the other day, and okay, I swear this will be the last time I make a Batman v Superman comparison, but like
keep it coming.
Another big problem I have with that movie is that it's so unclear what Batman's role in that universe is, because you have the police, they're all like scared of him, but they still have a bat signal. So I'm like, what if they like don't even necessarily believe he's real? Why do they have a bat? And like, but the Batman within that first opening scene, which is my favorite opening scene of any Batman movie, like within the span of just like a couple minutes, he's like, "What's up? I'm Batman. I've been doing this for 2 years, and I've been effective enough to the point where criminals think I'm at every single corner. So that is my mythology in this world at this point in time. Anyway, here's the movie." It's like stuff like that is just very simple, easy world building and that really gets to the whole point of the merger thing, is that I feel like they've really fleshed out this version of Gotham City that is so interesting, and it feels so grounded, but not the type of grounded that like the Dark Knight trilogy has. Like in the Dark Knight trilogy, Gotham's just Chicago, and that's just straight up just that. Like Batman Begins, it does kind of have more of like a Gothic quality to it, but then it's Chicago. Yeah. This version of Gotham just feels so unique and distinct and has so many moving parts and so much like rich mythology, and it's something that got built upon even more in the Penguin show, that I feel like it would just be a waste to not further, explore that.
I would agree. It feels like otherworldly, just like Metropolis feels otherworldly in Superman. Like, because I think people conflate like the groundedness of the Dark Knight trilogy with the groundedness of like, oh, that's what ground means. No, the Batman's still pretty out there. And I did want to know on just that opening scene of the Batman, it's like, I love how they establish his kind of dynamic with the police, where it's like, they're still kind of freaked out of him, but they kind of see him as like a necessary like force when they need it.
That's really just Gordon too. Like the rest of the police department is like, why is this dude tampering with evidence? It's not legal.
And like, I don't know. I would definitely agree. And I also just love, I remember that was one of my first like press screenings that I got an invite on my own to. I was like dying of excitement. I think Mike remembers the daily texts of me like leading up into it.
I went to Chicago for a screening for the Batman. I went on a trip to go watch that movie, and it was so worth it. It was great.
But I remember as the movie began, because it like began in like silence as well. I was like, wait, is this the movie starting? I was like, oh my God. I was like losing my mind. I had like Batman socks. I brought my Batman water bottle. I had a Batman shirt.
You went full on nerd at the press screening. That is funny.
I love Batman, okay? That's the one thing I can be a nerd about and Spielberg.
And the Flash.
Yeah, I do love the Flash.
Tyler said, just like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man video game that Morbius. You just unlocked a memory with that one. That was so weird.
Which one was Morbius in? Or not
was it Spider-Man 2, I think, on the PlayStation 2? I think it might have been that one. It was weird.
The Spider-Man games are so funny because they match the exact quality of the movies, because you have the first Spider-Man movie game, which is like a good, fun, decent game. You have Spider-Man 2, which is like, was at the time the ultimate Spider-Man like experience you could possibly get. Yeah. Then you have Spider-Man 3, which is bad, but it's so funny. It is the funniest. Just the most like infamous clip is when like you're doing the QuickTime event and then you screw it up and then fall on the floor. Yeah, she goes, "I'm going to die," and the building just explodes.
I remember that game so vividly.
I think what Tyler is referring to was in the first trailer for Morbius. You see Jared Leto in a prison suit, and there's a poster outside with a wanted.
Yeah, that was Tobey Maguire. Yeah. From the Spider-Man PS4 game. That was his skin. That was like a JPEG of his costume from that video game. And I still can't believe they just never is Michael Keaton just stuck in the Morbius verse? Is that what happened to Vulture? Like, what are we?
How did he get there to begin with? There was no indication that anyone from the MCU had been pulled into another universe for some reason. Why did that even happen?
I to this day, I've never seen Morbius, so I don't know. But I'm like, why is he in this scene?
You never seen it?
No.
Oh, you want me to describe the end credit, like the end credit scene?
Go for it.
So we get I think if I remember correctly, and they can correct me if I'm wrong, but like there's two technically. The first one is like this purple rift sends Michael Keaton's Vulture into prison, and he's just there. And then there's like stories of like weird mystery man ends up in prison. Again, doesn't make sense with the rules of what No Way Home established. That just didn't make any sense. Then the second end credit scene is Morbius in like the middle of nowhere, and then he sees something in the distance, and then it comes up and it's Vulture in like his full getup. Where did he get that? First of all, if he's in a different universe, and then he's talking to him, he's like, "Hey, how's it going? Are you Morbius or whatever?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I don't know how I got here. I think it had something to do with Spider-Man." And Morbius is like, never like, who's Spider-Man? What an odd thing to say to me as someone who has no investment on any way who that character is. But I hope they show up in Secret Wars. It would be so funny. It would be so funny.
We set up the symbiote in No Way Home. So you've got to pay off all of these dumb Sony-verse connections at some point.
Secret Wars is where he gets the suit. So if he was going to get it, that would be the time to get it.
Mark Ruffalo's already spoiling it too. So
yeah, he was like,
Vulture says,
I wonder who that could be.
Vulture says after that, he's like, me and the guys are getting together to take out this guy. And then Morbius is like, guys. I memorized that scene.
Oh my God.
Of course you did.
I was dedicated to that meme.
Nate, what is your least favorite of the Sony verse? Or Mike, what's your least favorite of the ones you've seen?
All of them.
Madam Web.
I topped out after Venom 1. Like, I did not watch the rest of these.
Craven's pretty bad. Madam Web is also pretty bad, but Craven was like,
yeah.
Madam Web at least like had some moments where like I think Dakota Johnson like does have like some. I think people misunderstand her dry humor sometimes. I think sometimes she is really funny.
Yeah.
Craven, I was like, okay, literally not only is the story bad and like everything else, but like just on a technical level, have you seen the one clip where it's Ariana DeBose's character and like they took a still image of her and then put her like mouth and just made it move? Yeah. So it's a still image, just a completely stagnant image.
So like the annoying orange level of animation.
Yes, that is exactly what it is.
Oh my God.
The annoying orange effect. For whatever reason, I don't know, but it was
I've
like,
not seen this clip. If you guys can find it, we can pull it up. That is crazy.
ADR in that movie is something to behold. The Rhino sends his regards scene.
Yep, I missed this. I'm sure it looks terrible. Hold on, let me look it up.
There's also, I wrote it in my review, and I think it was either Ross or Emma, one of our movie editors, was editing it, and there was a line in it where like, hey, I just want some clarification on this line. I'm like, what did you mean when you said Alessandro Nivola makes what you can only describe as a sound? And I'm like, trust me, when people see the movie, they will know exactly what scene I am talking about, because that is truly the only way I can describe the part where he's like standing over a sink and he's like, oh no, Craven got away or whatever. And he just goes, and then just moves on with the scene. Like that was just a normal thing to do.
This is a very low res pic, but I've got to get the image of Woody Harrelson because what the heck, bro?
Which one? I barely remember Venom 2.
It sucked.
I just remember being mad that it wasn't called Maximum Carnage.
What is this? What did we do to this man?
I mean, if there's one character who could get away with it, it's Cletus Cassidy, I guess, of him looking like that. I guess a little bit, but
Fair.
Still, it's like pretty. He looks a little bit better in the second one, but not by much.
Yikes. The Sony verse is how you don't do comic book villains origin stories. That's what we've learned here.
That's where I kind of was coming from with Clayface. It's like those movies take villains, except Madam Web. She's not really a villain, but like they take villains like Venom, Kraven, and Morbius. Well, Morbius is kind of anti-hero too. I don't really fucking. Can I curse?
You already did, so yeah, go for it.
I don't really bleeping care. I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize. I don't think TikTok is going to take us down, buddy. You're fine.
Okay, I don't really care. Like, but at the same time, they're just like glorified like superhero movies. But they're like, look, they're edgy. They kill. And it's like we have superheroes who kill already. I don't really. And this
Punisher's more violent than all these people.
Yeah, like this is an actual like villain movie that's not punch bad guy versus badder guy. Like this is just man deteriorating.
That's my problem with a lot of the Disney villain movies that we've gotten so far too. Like I remember seeing the first trailer for Maleficent and thinking like, oh my god, this actually looks pretty cool. Like this looks like a full on like fantasy movie, but with Maleficent, and we get to see her origin. Like this could be really cool if they do the character right. And even though Angelina Jolie is perfect in the role, it's just not the same character. It's just a very like, oh, she's a nice, cool fairy version of character. I'm like, well, that's just defeats the whole purpose. Same thing with Cruella. It's like her whole thing is killing Dalmatians. She does not kill any Dalmatians in the whole movie. But it's like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are too afraid to make their villain characters villains. Yeah. Where they feel like they'd be like, oh, well, it won't be possible to relate this character if they're a mean person. But then at the same time, look at like the 8 billion gangster movies where you're watching these like evil people do terrible things. I always hate it when I see lists online where it's like, the top 10 favorite villains. Number 10, Scarface. I'm like, Scarface is not a villain. He's not the villain of he's a bad person, but he's not the villain or the antagonist of the story. And that kind of gets to my whole point of just, you can still make a very interesting character that you like to follow and you maybe sometimes root for, maybe don't root for, but as long as their story is interesting, that should be the core crux of the issue. I was really interested in, I don't think it's ever going to happen now because especially we got Doomsday coming up, but I think Noah Hawley was in early development on a Doctor Doom movie.
He was.
And I think that would have been, from what it sounded like, he was like, he's going to be like a villain. Like he is going to be Doom. It's not going to be like misunderstood Doom. Like you are going to see him in like his full glory. So I think hopefully over time that's starting to change. Like Penguin was a perfect example of like, this is such a fascinating character, but he is the biggest piece of shit on planet Earth. He's just pure evil.
I think we, at some point as a society, just got all caught up in redeeming our villains, and it's like, oh, they have to have a motive, and you have to understand them. It's like, no, sometimes they can just be freaking evil, dude. Like, the Joker being the embodiment of chaos is what makes him interesting. And so when we give him a Sabi backstory, I'm just kind of like, all right, that's cool, I guess.
Marvel really had that phase too for a while, where like it felt like they had such great success with Killmonger, and there was all these other attempts to kind of replicate that. Of like, oh well, they might be bad, but they have some sort of real tragic backstory that it justifies all they do. And then in comes James Gunn with his last Marvel movie. He's like, hi, here's the biggest piece of shit in any single Marvel movie on planet Earth. Just pure evil, and he's like one of my absolute favorite Marvel villains because he's just totally irredeemable, but in the most like entertaining way.
Yeah, and I think we need to get back to that, especially with these comic book properties, where it's just like you have special cases. Like Doctor Doom is a character that can get an origin story, and like you can give him a very interesting motive. I honestly, hot take, I think Doctor Doom better serves a character like Black Panther than the Fantastic Four. I think him playing off of a character like T'Challa to me is just way more interesting because I think they fit better than him and Reed Richards. Like, why is this almighty ruler beefing with a scientist? I don't know.
There's some Fantastic Four comics where like Doom almost feels like Doofenshmirtz sometimes because like
especially in those early on comics.
Yeah, and especially like when their kids get involved, like he's basically like Valeria's uncle. Like in all the comics, he's like, I'm gonna kill the Fantastic Four. I'm gonna do this. He's like, but when Valeria comes, she can like hang out and it's fine. I won't bother.
Also, he named her. Like, why did we give him that privilege? What are we doing?
It's like you tried to kill us multiple times. You've not only have you tried to kill us personally, you are considered like one of the biggest threats in the world.
Yeah, but I feel like we just need to go back to like saying, hey, sometimes people are just bad, and I feel like even in society, I'm not gonna go on a whole tangent. Some people are just villains, man. Yeah. And it's okay. We don't have to sympathize with people who are just pure evil. It's true. Hold on. No franchise is worse than Fast and Furious.
I saw that and I started laughing because it's like every single movie, it's like the villain from the last movie just shows up at the barbecue at the end and it's like, hey, I killed your friend, and Vin Diesel's like, welcome to the party, pal, and hugs him.
I am so excited because, guys, I am watching Tokyo Drift tonight after stream for the first time. So we're going to see how it goes. I'm going through all of the Fast and Furious movies this year.
I'm really excited.
Never seen them.
Here in California, I think the Fast and the Furious ride is almost done that they're making, and it looks really cool. And the whole thing is that like it's like a roller coaster and it drifts, and I'm like, if they don't play the dun 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 dun, if that's not in the ride, they've screwed up immediately. It's like how I feel about the Princess and the Frog ride that just came out. It's like how do you not have people go up the hill of that ride and have them sing the "Are You Ready" song? It's like,
yes.
How do you not?
I going on a side tangent again. You bring that up because I went to Disneyland for like the first time in like over 10 years back in August. And when I rode that ride, I was like, okay, I saw like a video before because Disney Plus had all these like professionally like shot like POV. But like the one thing that I was like, okay, you could do the villain in that movie, the "Are You Ready" as a drop. No, it's "Are you ready for the party?" It's like, no, drop is supposed to be scary, but okay.
Yeah, I want to see also how if you have an opportunity to bring back Keith David, why would you not bring back Keith David?
Get my man his bag.
Yeah,
for real. But yeah, I watched Too Fast, Too Furious like a month ago, and that movie is ridiculous, guys. I did not like the Fast and the Furious, the first movie. The second one, I'm just like, this is so dumb. I kind of rock with it, and I'm like, oh god, I think they may have got me. This is. So
I would
stupid.
actually argue that 2 is one of the silliest ones. Like that was like the first like venture into like, okay, this is really silly territory.
Yeah, it was goofy, but I think its goofiness still had more of a charm than like we're trying to play this super serious, and it's like at the end of the day, this is an undercover cop getting caught up in drag racing. It's not. It's whatever. Like it is inherently kind of goofy.
Yeah,
but Yeah, I'm excited to see the next one. I got to get caught up to Fast Five because we're doing that watch party. But I'm excited. Surprisingly, I was not after watching the first one, but I do want to see where the rest of these go.
They get better. It goes up and then it goes kind of down again.
Fast Five is the turning point for sure.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
I know we've got is 11 the last one?
Did they? Okay, so there's. Oh yeah, okay. I think 11 is like because they were gonna call it Fast X Part 2, which was stupid, and now I think it's called something else stupid.
Fast Forever.
Fast Forever. That's what it is. Yeah.
Sure.
Again, it's hilarious naming conventions, and I think they're giving. I think Dwayne Johnson's coming back for this one, but then he's also doing another spinoff that's just him. I think.
With him and Jason Momoa, I think that was like their rumor. I don't know if that's still
I think that was because the end credit scene of Fast X was him talking.
Did every Hollywood movie bro just end up in this franchise at some point?
Yep. No, Alan Ritchson was in the last one.
Yeah,
of course.
No Chris Pratt yet, though. No Chris Hemsworth. So
the Marvel boys weren't invited, but pretty much everybody else was in here, huh? Okay, that tracks.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of Marvel boys in that one.
They were all busy at the same time, I'm pretty sure. Speaking of Marvel, we want to talk about Daredevil a little bit. Nate, you're not caught up, but you've been spoiled, apparently. I'm sorry about that.
I don't really care about spoilers. I know Jessica Jones shows up.
Is that all you know?
I know
because other things have happened.
There's a big thing that happens.
Okay. Is that all you know? I just want to be cool. I want to be careful. I don't want to ruin this for you. Something else happens.
Die.
Well, Aiden might know that because he's watched the entire show.
Oh, he doesn't die in this episode.
Not this episode, maybe.
Wait,
Spoiler.
who what now dies what now? Sorry.
Spoilers for Daredevil Born Again season 2. We're on episode 6.
No other episode that I may or may not have seen. No, he does not die in this specific episode that is available to the public that everyone can see and is not under any sort of embargo that would get me into any sort of trouble. Yes, I hope that answers your question.
Okay.
You guys, Kevin Feige's got a tracker on everybody who's gotten a screener for Daredevil Born Again, so the Marvel snipers might be outside his door. So he's got to be
ask
really
one
careful.
more question before I let you two talk and I mute myself.
Yes.
Does Fisk once again sing "We Built This City"?
Did he sing it before?
Yes, he did.
When did that?
Technically.
Wonderful.
We built this city. Hold on, I gotta pull up the.
Oh wait, no, is that when like the kids when he goes to the school? Yeah, that seems hilarious.
That has been rent free in Nate's head since it happened.
The funniest part is when he's like, "Oh, you want to sing another song?" And like Fisk like turns into like Bilbo Baggins in that one scene of Lord of the Rings, where he just goes like, "No," he's like, "No, please, no, God, no."
Why is this scene 3 minutes long? I went to pull it up on YouTube, and it's 3 minutes long.
That scene and him fixing potholes in season 1 are like kind of my whole personality around this show.
Weirdly enough, even though that was from like the older draft of the show, I do kind of like it because it makes it feel like the first like half of that show, even though Fisk is still Fisk, it does feel like he's genuinely trying to be a better person.
Yeah.
And he just sucks at it, and that's what makes it so funny. Like he genuinely seems to be trying like, I want to be a good mayor. Now that I have control, I don't want to abuse my power. And then of course it turns into him abusing his power because he is who he is. But yeah. I liked seeing him like genuinely out of his comfort zone. It was a little silly for sure, but it was the kind of silly where I'm like, this kind of works a little bit.
No, it definitely does. It's not like I'm laughing at it because it's bad. It's just because I think Vincent D'Onofrio is just so good as that character as well that it's like we know what he did and he's just trying to turn it around and you're like, is he or is he not? And then also because the friend I was watching it with just when he was fixing the pothole was like, what if he said in terms of Vanessa, it says this hole represents the hole in our relationship. I'm feeling it.
This hole in this city.
Yeah.
So Nate, how many episodes are you behind?
Just this. I didn't see this week's.
Okay. I feel a lot better because
I saw
Vanessa
Vanessa die.
is gone.
Okay.
We're deep into spoiler territory, and so I'm glad that we can talk about that now.
Vanessa.
All of our Vanessa memes technically have to be retired now, and I feel sad about that.
One of my Nate, was it you that I sent it to? It was when it was like the picture of him when he's in Hawkeye and he has like his Hawaiian shirt, and like I think I sent it to you, and then I just recorded a voice memo where when Vanessa Malinki Maka is a thing to say on a white Hawaiian Christmas Day.
I think about that a lot.
Hawkeye Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin is crazy. It is a crazy version. I love it, but it's crazy.
He is such a tank in that show too.
He like rips the door of the car off.
It's like he took multiple arrows too from Kate Bishop. Like these are Hawkeye Avengers grade arrows, and this man is just tanking everything. It's
that I just assumed because he has like the special armor from what's his name, the gladiator guy. But like, I also love that he has his dumb cane. I was so happy to see him have that. Like,
yeah,
it was a weird time because that was when they were like, this is not the same Kingpin that was in the Netflix show, even though it's the same actor.
But now it's the same Kingpin from the Netflix show, and it's like, well, we're just gonna not think about that.
Yeah, is it jarring a little bit? Sure, but I'm honestly glad that they found a somewhat happy medium. Is it a perfect like union? No, but at the same time, it is nice that we got both of those extremes of the character played by the same guy.
I think the medium too is we were talking about like how strong he was. He crushed a dude's skull last season like a freaking Viltrumite, like. So even in Daredevil, we've power scaled him up to at least Thragg status. So it's like, I don't know. But yeah, not to spoil this episode specifically, besides Jessica Jones popping up.
You can spoil it. I don't care.
You sure?
All right. Jessica Jones pops up for 30 seconds, and I'm mad about it.
What? Just 30 seconds?
It's a little longer than 30 seconds.
She's in 2 scenes, so 2 minutes, basically.
Oh, yeah. They hyped her up. I'm bummed.
Yeah, she might pop up again later, but in this episode specifically is what we're talking about. And Aiden's eyes are just like, I am not going to say anything else.
I have no knowledge on anything, about any person.
The classic Marshawn Lynch, I'm just here so I don't get fired.
I learned from
No, but she shows up in this episode, and I'm sure our friend Trayvon, he hears this somewhere in the multiverse because he texted the group chat immediately when this scene happened. He was just like, they did not give her a child to depower her, so she can't fight. He's like, I just saw them nerf Adam Eve. Now they nerfing Jessica. What are they doing? Where are these babies coming from? Just nerfing these superheroines in a week span. And I'm like, he's got a point. It's kind of weird that happened.
Is it Luke Cage's? Is it? Do they say that?
They don't say in this episode. But as a comic reader, I can tell you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you read the comics, you know what the.
I know, but I mean, I just If they try to retcon it, it's like, no, me and Luke broke up, and then we know Luke Cage is in season 3 because that's been confirmed. Like, if it just shows up, it's like, we haven't talked in a long time, and Luke Cage is like, your new guy seems nice. I approve. I will. No.
For what it's worth, we do see the kid, and they look like they're biracial, so we've got that confirmation there.
Danielle, and Danielle is the name of her and Luke's daughter in the comics.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
it's very clearly just that kid from the books. It'd be like if Sue and Reed had a child and it was just named like Becky. It's like, is that the kid from the comics? I don't know.
I rewatched the scene again because I just wanted to see if there was like a detail I missed. I think maybe the copy I got maybe didn't have like every single music thing because I didn't remember like the moment you see Jessica too, you hear like a little like it's actually kind of a cute like almost xylophone version of her theme. Where it's like, ding ding. I was like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah,
I think awesome. The best way to describe Jessica in this episode, it's very very similar to the last episode where we see Foggy and Wesley again. It's like, it's great to see him again. And I'm like, it's so cool to like revisit those characters, but
Yeah.
did we really learn anything new in their coming back? Did they like add a ton to the story? I don't think so. Here, at least we learned a bit more about what Jessica's been up to since we last saw her, but it doesn't feel like she necessarily feels like a cog that fits in the story of this season so far.
It was one of those moments where it's like, oh, this is a fan service Marvel thing, which is not something that we've gotten a lot of in Daredevil Born Again, I will say. So it's like, okay, I'll give them the one weirdly placed cameo for Christian Ritter. I'm not going to say no to that. But I think, to me, like you were saying, this speaks to a larger problem I have with this show, is that I think we were talking earlier about Batman, right? Of like how I want Batman to grow and change and evolve. I think we've just reached our limit with Matt and Fisk, where it's like Matt and this episode actually addresses that. So kudos to them for at least acknowledging, like, yeah, these guys are just going to keep doing the same thing forever until the end of time, until one of them dies. And it's like, give me something else. I can't watch these two have a philosophical conversation in the first half of the season, and then they fight and beat each other to a pulp at the end of the season, and then nothing changes. Matt's still a vigilante and a lawyer, and Kingpin still has some sort of control over the city. We've just been rinsing and repeating for a decade. And I'm just sitting here like, I think it's because these two, their character arcs have been completed for 2 seasons, because Daredevil season 3 should have been like the end of this. I think I'm just ready for a new villain and like a new challenge for Matt specifically.
Who would you pick as like the next big bad for Daredevil?
Stiltman.
Is that what we're doing now? We're doing Stiltman? We moved from Doorman and now we're on to Stiltman? Is that your thing?
I guess.
You manifested Doorman, and so now that meme gets to die.
Yeah, you know we've seen Stiltman already, right?
Wait, we have?
Yeah. You know the Turk Barrett, the guy who gets beat up in every single Netflix show?
Oh, yeah.
That's Stiltman.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, I'll pull up the picture. You see the stilts in like a scene in the background and everything.
I remember the stilts were like there, but I didn't. Wow.
No, but that character that's why in every Netflix show it was a tradition for the heroes to beat up that character because he's Stiltman. That is the character the show has not brought back, who they need to bring back.
Bring back Stiltman.
He brings me so much. Bring back Turk Barrett.
Yeah, this is why I am being very hypocritical, because you ask and say, well, who should be the next big bad for Daredevil? And it's like, that's a good question. We've kind of sped run all of them in a way where it's like, well, the Hand has always been like a minor villain in the background sometimes, and they're back in Spider-Man, so I guess we can do something with that. But also, I don't know if I want to bring the Hand back and just retread that storyline either. So I
am very much anti don't bring the Hand back. Even with Spider, I've come to the realization where I feel like I've discovered, man, the Hand kind of suck in everything that they're in, because you had him in. You have Daredevil season 2, which is great. Like the Punisher stuff is like some of my favorite Marvel content that there is. The rooftop scene with him and Frank, my all-time favorite Marvel scene. I think that scene is brilliant. Mm-hmm. Then like midway through season 2, Elektra's like, hey, and then it just becomes a bunch of Hand stuff. It's nowhere near as interesting. We got Hand stuff in Iron Fist, and Iron Fist is Iron Fist. And then we got Defenders, which they're like, oh man, Sigourney Weaver. I wonder what her thing. Oh, never mind. She's gone now. So now I'm kind of like, okay, either they really need to do something really interesting with the Hand at some point, or just stop using them, because they're just convoluted. Especially when they don't even get to be ninjas most of the time. They're just goons in suits for a lot of times you see them. And
yeah.
At least in Spider-Man, they are actually ninjas
for the first time.
Yeah. I think Nobu was the only one who was dressed up as one of them at some point.
I guess theoretically they could bring Elektra back. We have mutants now too, so we can do.
I was just gonna say, do we think they're gonna bring back Elektra?
That's another thing. I kind of hope not. I feel like I've seen enough versions of Elektra at this point where I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, so you have size. What else? What is? what makes I don't get it. I don't get what this adds to the story or anything. I think like she like really peaked in popularity in the 90s in the comics, and since then it's kind of been like Marvel doesn't really know what to do with that character.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's also translated to a lot of the movies and shows, even though it was great seeing like, Jennifer Garner play the character again in Deadpool, but that was like, very much a, kind of a wink and a nod cameo. I'm trying to think like what other, the only one that's immediately popping out at me is like the Rose, like Kingpin's son, but that also kind of feels like it would be like retreading a lot of familiar territory with Fisk. It would just be like Fisk, but somewhat mildly different.
It's just Daniel.
Like the big thing they're hinting at is that Heather is going to become like a Muse copycat of some kind.
And yeah, I wanted to talk about that because one of the things that I thought about was like, well, we could just do like Muse proper, but like comic book Muse. And I'm like, well, the way we're setting up Heather to be like Muse too, it still doesn't feel like we're going to reach comic book Muse. So it's like, why do we want to set that up if she's just going to be just like serial killer of the week again? Maybe.
I was so upset with how Muse was handled in season 1 because like you had this amazing costume for him. He looks just like he did in the comics. And like you introduce him, like it does take like some time to like kind of build him up a little bit, and he is like genuinely creepy at a lot of points. And then it's like, oh, he's just some creepy guy. I'm like, already you fucked up because we're not even supposed to know who this guy is. You never find out who he is in the comics, and that's what makes him even scarier is that no one ever got him. And it just kind of ended with, oh, he's just some random serial killer. And I'm like, well, that ruins the whole. It's the idea of just an evil serial killer mutant Banksy is such a interesting idea, and they just did nothing with it. But I hope if they do end up bringing Muse back in some form, if it's like Heather becomes the next version of him, that they do start to, even if he doesn't have superpowers, I don't even care if he doesn't or not, even though his powers are cool. I just want to see him behave more, or see them behave more like the character from the comics.
Yeah, that's fair. I going through the list, like I'm even doing very, very bad preparation on my part. I'm doing the scrolling Reddit on like the most iconic Daredevil villains. And I'm like, we actually did all of them in some capacity at this point across both shows.
Was in Iron Fist.
Yeah, we're bringing that back somehow. But yeah, like I think we at this point.
Bullseye?
Yeah, that's a thing.
That'd be interesting because they are trying to give him like a. That is one thing I think this season's doing really well. I first off, I loved that Bullseye episode. I thought that was that episode 4, I believe was, where like you get the whole Bullseye diner scene. I thought that entire episode was great.
Yeah,
and I was worried I was going to be like, okay, is this just going to be kind of? Are we just going to retread a lot of familiar territory with that we did with the Punisher again? Because he's like, okay, he's a vigilante, but he kills. But no, he is still like he takes like great pleasure in killing people, which like really creates a totally different dynamic. So
yeah,
if he became kind of the main villain, that would be interesting.
I do want to give this show, because it sounds like I'm dogpiling on a little bit. I am enjoying this season. I think this season is really well done.
I think it's significantly better than season 1.
Yeah, by a long shot. Like this is honestly might be like the second or third best season of the entire Daredevil property. Like it's right up there with what the original show was doing in my book. At this point, I just again don't know where they go from here, and I'm doing that thing where I'm looking too far in the future, and it's like, well, if we're setting up Jessica Jones and these other characters popping back up, even for them, where else can we take these iterations of the characters unless we just lean full into the comic book stuff and we stop trying to do the Netflix thing tonally? Like if you go full comic book adventure, heroes for hire type missions with the Defenders, that can be fun. But as it stands right now, as the show is formatted, being just like season 5 of Daredevil from Netflix, I don't know how much more I can watch Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox just box every other episode. And Karen Page actually brings it up in this episode, which I do appreciate. Yeah. So they're at least aware of it, where she's like, you need to start putting these dudes in the ground at this point, man.
Yeah. Nate, there's another big part of this is that this episode is that they have Bullseye in custody, and Karen, of course, is not thrilled about it because he killed Foggy. So she gets very close to just killing them, and Matt has to like throw his baton at her to get her to stop, and she is upset about that because she's like, he's awful. And he's like, but it would. Oh well, I actually just had an idea. So if they did want to bring the hand back, and they wanted to make it a little bit more interesting, one thing they could do is do the storyline where Matt becomes the leader of the hand and kind of becomes like anti-hero, somewhat evil Matt Murdock. But also at the same time, I feel like at this point in his career, he wouldn't be really susceptible to that. I guess I feel like it would be kind of like a big betrayal of his character at that point. But
it's what I mean by like, I think Matt has grown up to the point where he's got nothing else to learn and nothing to really challenge him unless you just throw him a massive curveball.
It sounds like that's what Ryan Reynolds is trying to do with Deadpool, is that I feel like Ryan Reynolds he seems like he's recognized that Deadpool as a solo like lead character has kind of reached his potential. And now it sounds like the next thing that he's writing, like it is a Deadpool movie, but it's going to be like an ensemble where he's able to like bounce off of a bunch of different characters. So I think maybe that is what they should start exploring with Daredevil, is to kind of show him like interacting with other characters. I mean, especially at this point, he would be like a perfect mentor character to Spider-Man at this point. Not to give him like another mentor, but having someone who is more street level, who's dealt with more, intense stuff, as opposed to like Iron Man, who's like, fighting the aliens and stuff. Having someone by your side who's like seeing like real street level evil could be interesting to see.
All I ask though, is in season 3 when Iron Fist comes back, get him the suit.
Get him the suit.
Please.
I don't want a stupid mask.
Better not be in
the shirt thing, like with the tattoo. Like, no.
That's my point, though, is that the Netflix show was we were in that grounded era of comic book movies, and it's like, we still are suffering from the effects of the Dark Knight, and it worked for a show like Arrow for the most part. It worked for a show like Daredevil for the most part, but Iron Fist, like after getting Shang-Chi, I need Iron Fist to dip way more into the fantastical. And if we're going to bring Finn Jones back and this iteration of the character back, we've got to reinvent it. And if season 3 is just, we're doing crazy superhero stuff with the Defenders, I'm happy. I think that fixes the show getting stale, and you can give Iron Fist a redemption arc, because I think he's the one who needs it the most. Also, we left Luke Cage in a very weird spot. So we gotta pick up where that left off, because he's like a mob boss now. So it's like,
oh yeah,
we got to figure that out. I just hope that, speaking of costumes, I hope that we just at least get Jessica Jones a different jacket at the very least, because at this point it looks like she hasn't changed clothes in 10 years.
She looks great, Mike.
I do kind of like the jacket. I don't know if I change the jacket. It is kind of iconic.
I just want a different color at least one time. Make it gray.
Purple.
Something.
No,
no purple. No purple.
Dramatic. That is still, I think David Tennant's Purple Man is the scariest Marvel villain that has been put to screen, I think.
Now that this is firmly an MCU canon, he has got to be like top 3 Marvel villains.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, like if he wanted to, he could like kill every Avenger in a second. He just felt like he didn't want to do that. He'd rather just, fuck with normal people. But like,
yeah,
if he wanted to, like, he is like the most powerful character in the MCU.
He made Starlight kill her parents in the first episode.
He did.
I remember when I made that connection for the first time. I was like, oh my god, that's Starlight.
I didn't even realize that the other Colby Menifee was also in Jessica Jones. I don't remember who she played, but she was in it too, I think.
Oh my god, yeah.
So there's 2 boys alums in Jessica Jones.
Crazy. Speaking of the most powerful ever, I think it's a good time to transition to our final topic that we have on this schedule. If you guys in the comments want us to talk about anything specifically, of course, on TikTok, let us know. On the other place, let us know. I can't say on TikTok because they will take the stream down, but you guys know where you're watching the video. We got to talk about Invincible. We've all seen Invincible, I assume, right?
Yes.
We can talk full spoilers.
The whole thing's out, right? Like it's
Yeah,
It's
the
done.
finale premiered this week. And so, spoilers for Invincible if you haven't gotten caught up. This finale to me is very, very interesting. And I actually appreciate how character driven it is after a whole season of just fights and preparing for war and being chased around by Viltrumites and we got to go destroy their home planet. I like that it's just taking a second to spend time with Mark and his entire like sanity and how he's grappling with what they just did. And as a finale, I want your guys' opinions on it because that is not what I expect from a comic book show, but I really appreciated like the difference in tone compared to the previous season finales.
I mean,
Jump in.
I wanted to say like it was also just refreshing after multiple episodes of sorry.
We will. We got you.
Thank you, Nate Richard, for 126.
But after like so many episodes of just carnage and like holes being punched through people's stomachs and
The classic
we still got
Viltrumite
that.
slice, bro. It is deadly.
Why don't they just do that all the time?
I know.
And I mean, we still kind of got that with Mark's like hallucinations, but it didn't actually happen. To see this big showdown, like the finales have always been like brutal. You know, think Mark think, I thought you were stronger, or the conquest fight. Like,
Stand ready for my arrival, worm.
like this felt so effective in its own way that I'm like, I think this finale cements this season as my favorite, even despite the hell episode that I really did not like. This season might be my favorite because, yeah, you can say what you want about the animation. Like, I think everybody kind of agrees about that at this point. But, like,
Yeah.
so this show gave us so much that happened within it. It moved the plot along. Besides the hell episode, it, you know.
Well, I will defend the hell episode in a minute, a little bit, but go on, keep talking.
But just after seeing Mark get his ass kicked again and again and again and again, I saw a funny tweet. I'm sorry, I do it for my news feed because it's the only way. But I saw
I get it.
I keep getting recommended a bunch of like Invincible accounts. And one was like it was like the Civil War promo with the mugshot of all the Avengers, and it's like Invincible fans when Mark doesn't just get the absolute shit beat out of him in an episode.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, give him a break. Like, I think this show does such a good job of making us care for not just Mark, but also like Debbie. Like, you know what? I'm kind of bummed. I feel bad for Paul. Jokes aside with the memes, we love Paul. Paul the GOAT. But like, you know, I want Debbie to be happy.
I want to talk about how OP Debbie Grayson is in this show. I just want you guys to know that the Viltrumites were in hiding, and the second Debbie went off world, Thragg decided to show his face.
Yeah.
He was scared crapless until he made sure Debbie was off the planet. You don't mess with Debbie Grayson, especially with Oliver already MIA. She was gonna cut throats. She was gonna slice them again. The Viltrumite slice in half. This season, I think, I don't know if it's my favorite season. I think to me, it's a fun season. I like the adventure. I like us plotting and like finally resolving the Viltrumite subplot, because it's like the impending doom of will they ever come back has driven Cecil's entire story arc. It's driven Mark's fear and training for like ever since what happened with Nolan. If they ever come back, what are we gonna do? Well, now they're here, and we just gotta live with it. And they seem like they're gonna just play nice, and I think that changes the entire dynamic of the show going forward, because it allows Mark to go back to just being a normal superhero, where it's like he was Earth's last defense, and he's had to make all these tough choices, and it's been weighing on him mentally. Even early in the season, where he had to like kill that one guy who was mind controlled by the Starro knockoffs.
Russ.
Yeah, and so I think that's where, again, brief defense of the Hell episode, even though I also don't really like it. I think that entire episode does kind of work when you realize Mark is searching for answers. He wants to know the difference between good and evil. He wants to know that if I do the right thing, it's all going to work out. And Satan just being like, yeah, there's no heaven, man. You're not going to come down here if you do bad things. You just live in a morally gray world. And Mark has to be like, well, crap. That doesn't make my decisions any easier. You know, because I think in that moment, Mark is looking for everything to be black and white, because he's like, I have to make all these tough choices. I have to make the choice to kill people on occasions. And if I choose not to, that means I'm doing the right thing, right? That means God is smiling upon me, right? And they're just like, it's not that simple, dude. That's not how life's going to work. And from a character standpoint, it's still kicking Mark when he's down a little bit. Like he comes away with that with no resolution. And it is a filler episode, so it can't change him that much. But like, I think from a character standpoint, I see what they wanted it to do. I just think the episode sucked and the villain sucked. And so it's just like, all right, well, we tried. We took a swing. Yeah. Aiden, thoughts on this season of Invincible?
Yeah, so the big, maybe it's just because when I watched my screeners for it, Amazon sent like I think the first 6 episodes first, and then a couple weeks later they shared the last 2.
They always hold the last 2 back for some reason. It's annoying.
Yeah, and I get why for this specific one, because like so much stuff happens. So it's one of the few cases where I'm like, okay, I get why that held this back for a little bit.
Wait, time out for a second though. Why does Amazon do this for shows that are adapting a book that's 20 years old?
That's a good question.
I had spoilers for season 7 already in my feed, bro. I'm like, what?
I wanted to do a rant about this earlier today in our chat, and I'm like, why on earth do studios not send the whole show? It's like if I went to go to a press screening and they were like, okay, we want you to review this, but based only on the first 60 minutes of the movie. That's basically what it's like when you send me half of a show to review. It's like there was one show I did that was like a murder mystery show, and it was only the first 4 out of 8 episodes. I'm like, I can't really give.
You're halfway through the plot.
If I don't know how the murder mystery is resolved, that doesn't really help. But
you know,
what was I talking about? Okay, Invincible.
Invincible.
So I guess the last 2 episodes are the most fresh in my mind. The rest of the show, kind of like, I don't remember a ton of it. Like I remember Robot goes back to the Flaxen world, and that's going to lead to more important things. I know. Everything else kind of just blends in, including like the Hell episode, which again wasn't crazy about. I did like the bit where they're falling in the pit. I thought that was funny. I liked the banter between Clancy Brown and Stephen Yeun. I thought was good. Indra Varma as the villain is cool. Bruce Campbell as the Satan is inherently cool.
The joke of the like the Iron Man helmet just zoop, 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 zoop.
Yeah.
I'm just like that. Yeah. That's a cheap joke, but it made me laugh.
It's
like,
very
why does it do that?
Funny, but I enjoyed it. But so the second to last episode of this season, I think, is my favorite episode of the entire show. I thought that, and it's interesting because it is really just one big giant battle, that whole episode, and it feels like it really, really goes on. And I think it's because you've just invested so much time in these characters that you really do just want them to make it through at this point. And like, you're really like, even like characters like, you know, it's not, oh shoot, what's the girl? It's not Tech Knight. That's the boys. Who's the
Tech Jacket?
Tech Jacket. That's what it is.
Because she has a magic jacket. Apparently, I don't get it.
I don't really get why she's the one that's fighting Viltrumite, but that's neither here nor there. Then there's Space Racer, who I love, even though I can't stand him because he is the biggest plot hole device in all of the history of time. I'm like, why are you even dragging these Velociraptor mutants with you when you have a gun that could kill all of them in 2 seconds if you just aimed properly? Anyway, I'm going to do another tangent, but that whole episode I thought was amazing.
I guess to me, not to defend the crappy writing of this character who we made OP for no reason. I think I liked the justification a little bit because when he shoots it, it doesn't stop. It keeps going for eternity, essentially. So it's like, if he misses, that's going to destroy a moon. Yeah. That's going to hit a ship. That's going to eventually kill somebody. So I like the idea of he has to be very careful on when he fires it. But also, we need to just set a better trap so we can at least take down the one Viltrumite we can't fight. Yeah. So
Thragg is sitting in front of Viltrum the entire time, too. So it's not like you did anything else. But even then, I can't even get too mad about it, because one of the things about Invincible is that every character is overpowered in some way.
Yeah.
So you can't even really get too mad about it. But I think the biggest thing that this episode did is that it justified Thragg's existence. Like what Tyler just said, is that Thragg's so strong, his punches have a gravitational pull that is a perfect description of, you're like, you keep hearing about this guy, and then you see him, it's like, okay, he just looks like some other Viltrumite. And then you see Mark try to fight him, and it's like, okay, I don't even know if you're going to be able to even land a punch on him.
Yeah.
And I think the way that it ends with, I think a lot of people are probably assuming that the show is going to end with this big epic fight against Thragg and the Viltrumites. But as we see in this big arc, this big Viltrumite war arc, it's just the beginning of an even bigger battle of having to live with the people that have threatened to like kill every person on the planet. So it is kind of like, it kind of starts what The Boys was doing for a while, now not so much, where it's like they kind of had to handle Homelander with baby gloves so he wouldn't destroy everything on the planet and just go berserk. So I think it's going to set up like a lot of very interesting diplomatic possibilities. And, you know, I haven't read all the comics, but I'm at around this point in the comics of when it is, and there's some stuff that happens that will be very interesting to see if they adapt. But I'm very interested to see where it's going to go. It is impressive that a show that's this many episodes and seasons deep has still managed to keep my attention pretty consistently, and I still feels like it's able to keep me guessing.
And it's a yearly show too, which I appreciate, where they found, and people will complain about the animation and stuff, but it's like, we complained when it took like 2 and 3 years between seasons. So I will take the small downgrade in animation quality episode to episode, if that means we just get the show on a more consistent basis. Because I remember that wait between season 1 and 2 or 2 and 3? I can't remember which one was the long.
Yeah.
But I forgot basically everything that happened because it took so long for the show to get back. Whereas this time, I'm like, oh yeah, I know where we left off. And it was way easier to jump back into it and have fun with it. Even if that means we get a filler episode here or there just to pad the runtime a little bit. I'll complain about it for that week and then get back to the main story. I want to just talk about how dumb Oliver is for a second. Mm-hmm. Because
poor sweet boy.
I want to like this character. I really do. The voice actor does a great job. He's the youngest in the cast, so it's like he's got that Robin like charm, you know, where it's just like, oh, he's happy go lucky. He just wants to be here. When he said he wanted to go help Mark and he didn't want him to die, I got it. I'm like, cool, help your brother. Why are you going to go fight the strongest Viltrumite? Why are you going to go straight to fight Conquest? Why are you going to go straight to Thragg? He did it
Conquest twice.
Did he get amnesia when he got knocked out the first time? Because he's like, I helped you beat Conquest. No, you didn't. Mark didn't even beat Conquest. Eve technically beat Conquest, if we're being completely honest. In his defense, Oliver is 2 years old. So is Oliver going to come back like 30 years old when he finishes healing in the hyperbolic chamber? Is that what's going to happen?
Isn't that what happens?
I don't want a comic confirmation.
Okay.
Well,
that's just a general question.
Not to give comic confirmation, but if they are following the comic, which it seems like now they're following them pretty closely with these like remaining arcs, because like this is one of the comics where like the Invincible comics, when they start, like they are very much like Adventure of the Week, just Mark doing random stuff, and much later down the line it becomes like a much more like serialized story. Oliver does not get any better at not getting his shit rocked. He really doesn't. Of course. He really never gets better at it. I kind of hope they change it, because I just feel bad. At a certain point, you're just like, no, okay.
I need him to win one fight. Like, I think it's crazy how he was bageled in this war where Tech Jacket, I don't even know why we brought her, but she did get one. She got one Viltrumite on her own, which is like, okay, cool. Why didn't we do that for Oliver? We didn't have one straggler that he could have like taken down at some point. He kept going up against the boss with 1 HP.
He literally murdered the Mauler twins on his first like mission, and then ever since then it's just been like, oh, well, really? If we are going to really go into a plot thing here, maybe him, killing the Maulers was something so traumatic for him that maybe he's holding back more than he would. I guess maybe that's one justification you can give.
In that case, I want us to explore that in the story.
Exactly.
Because Mark is also always trying to hold back. And that's one thing Nolan told him when they fought Viltrumites for the first time. He was just like, hey, you can't hold back. They're going to kill you. We've got to teach you the Viltrumite slice. We had a whole episode where Oliver and Nolan are having like father-son time. And it's actually really great. That's a really fun, like almost, I know it probably happened in the book, but it's almost a filler-like story. It's like we're just waiting for Mark to heal. So we're bonding and he's training them. And I just want that training to pay off at some point. Like, even if he was not going to beat Conquest, of course he was going to get knocked out again, and he was not going to beat Thragg. But if he put damage on Conquest just to give him the power scaling, I would have at least appreciated that. Like, hey, make him bleed a little bit. And I see Nate dying over here, so of course it's Speed Race. Or Space Racer. Give him the gun. I mean,
just, like, kill everybody. He would just accidentally like miss, and then it's like, oh, humanity's done. Because Oliver's stupid. That he's a 2-year-old.
I want your guys' thoughts on the justification, I guess, the politics of destroying Planet Viltrum. Because when Nolan decided to say, hey, we're losing this fight, we're going to go destroy the planet, did you think that was going to work? Like, what do you think that actually caused and changed in Thragg? What did Nolan see in Thragg to make him make that decision? Because to me, I'm like, I get the play, but also this is like a Hail Mary. I didn't really think that was going to actually do anything.
I mean, that was one of the quotes, I forget who said it, but that really stuck out with me is it almost kind of backfired because now they gave him nothing to lose.
Yeah, Mark says that at one point where he's like rethinking it, and it's like he just did what Nolan said because Nolan said, trust me. Like, we have to trust Omni-Man fully, but
Cool. It made for like a cool moment. They all look cool when all of their clothes freaking burned off, and they're
except the bottoms because censorship. And it's like if you have to justify that and say that the heat of the sun, essentially, and the speed of light fried their clothes, why didn't it take the shorts? At that point, just keep the.
This is dong, bro.
Yes. Twitter said Viltrumite at one point, and I died.
I mean, Blue Eye Samurai, that's an animated show. That's for
lots
adults.
of dongs in that. Yeah.
This show is also TVMA because of all the blood and gore. They actually probably could have got away with it.
They could.
Oh, yeah.
We gave it that.
What, Omni-Man is packing.
Not as much as Paul.
Yeah.
The goat. No, but like, Aiden, I want your thoughts on like destroying the planet. What does that do narratively? I know it forces them to come to Earth and like the politics of that, but like when you saw that happen, did you think like, oh, this is going to change everything?
It's a really good question because I hadn't really thought of it that deeply, but now that you're bringing it up, now I am, because when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, that's cool. They destroyed the planet. It's kind of metal. It was kind of like for me, it was kind of like the, Force Unleashed Starkiller bringing down the Star Destroyer type moment of like, oh yeah, this is sick, dude. But I don't really think about it too much. But
it's one of those things to me where it's like, this could have gone one of two ways, and like Omni-Man just bet on it because it's like, what if he just did what he did to Thetis to everybody? I choose death, and he just rips everybody's skull off. Like like Nate was saying, they have nothing to lose now. That just to me is probably one of the most important decisions, and it's going to change the course of this show forever because now they're on Earth permanently.
Well, I think it's a double-edged sword too, because I think I think that decision also probably, if Thragg had a home he could go to and call his home base, then it would be just, he probably wouldn't even bother with Earth. He'd probably just destroy in a second. But because he literally doesn't have a home to go back to, because I believe it is canon that they can't breathe in space forever. They can breathe for like a really, 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 really long time, but I think there is a limit on it. Yeah. So they do need some place to call home. So in destroying the planet, even though it's led to this scary situation of the Viltrumites being in plain sight on Earth, it also has forced Thragg, who just a couple years ago was like, okay, new rule, kill everyone you think is weaker than you, and then we'll just go over that. But now, since there's so few of them left, he's basically forced Thragg to do something he never thought he would do, which is be diplomatic and call for a truce, which is, it's from what we knew about that character to that point, that is not something he would even consider doing.
Yeah.
So it makes him more unpredictable and more prone to making mistakes. Did they know that when they destroyed the planet? I don't know, but it's still interesting, and I'm just sad that Peter Cullen's not going to be in the show anymore.
Yeah, same. Do you guys believe Thragg when he tells Mark, "You will never see me again"?
No. He's going to be back. We won't know this.
Yeah. I'm just like, that's an interesting way to end that conversation, where he's just like, he fully is going to honor that truce. There was no, we're going to be in hiding, we're going to take over in 100 years when we have enough Viltrumite. He just said, yeah, you're not going to see me anymore. Deal's done. Later, kid. I'm sure there's going to be some call to action, because now that they live on Earth, it's in their best interest probably to protect Earth as well. So like, if an enemy comes, if Robot opens that portal and more aliens pour through, they might have to pitch in, because it's like, well, this is our planet now too. Which I think will also cause for some more drama with Cecil and all that other stuff. And that's why I think this just reset the status quo. This slow burn of an episode changed Invincible forever, potentially. And that's what I think is very, very cool about this episode that had almost no proper action scenes.
It does something that I usually don't like, because I find it just cheap most of the time. It's when they have the fake out flashback or vision where it's like, yeah, oh my God, this horrible thing. He said, Mark, are you okay? What's going on? And I'm like, okay, we've seen this a million times, but I think the show does it so well where it keeps happening. And then when he finally does actually see Thragg, he wants him to go away, but it turns out that what he was dreading is true, but it didn't turn out the way he expected. So I thought it was a great look into Mark's psychology. I feel like we get that every season, but in this season, in this episode in particular, they really do a good job diving deep into it.
I agree. Because the first moment when the episode even opens where he has that nightmare, I'm like, wait, is this happening or not?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until he flew down on Earth, because even after it showed him kind of frozen in fear, I didn't really know if it was a dream or not until, that happened. But just with Debbie, I was just kind of taking it back, but it's, Mark goes through so much traumatic stuff. Obviously he's going to have PTSD from it. And I think this is kind of the show's way of showing it.
I appreciate that the show remembers occasionally that Mark is a normal person. He's got to deal with all of this mentally. You both bring up great points where it's like, how do you handle all of that trauma? And I think back to the start of the season where it's like, Mark is still suffering from an army of himselfs, his doppelgangers, right? These multiversal clones of him essentially invaded and reigned terror. And he is just burying himself in this superhero work, and he's dragging Oliver into it. And Oliver just wants to play on his Switch and be a kid. And he's just like, we've got to keep fighting. And all that fighting led to forcing the Viltrumites to come to Earth. And it's like, now he's got to grapple with that. And the stress of that too, right? Because he doesn't know Thragg. He just saw that man rip somebody's head off. He's probably like, every day I have to just hope that this man doesn't change his mind, because they don't have any safeguards to beat him. No one on Earth can touch that guy. So if he changes his mind, you're all dead. He's going to be sleeping with one eye open for a very long time. And I just am really interested to see what we do going forward. I just hope this is going to sound random because it's not anything we've been talking about. I just hope we don't force Debbie and Nolan to be a thing. At least this soon. I know it's going to end up happening, but I don't like how we got rid of Paul off screen. We spent too much time with that character just to be like, and they broke off. off screen months ago. So
there's been so much in this conversation where I've just had to like hold my tongue because I know what happens in the comics.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you'll find out.
Yeah,
probably. But it's just I mean my big hope for next season and every season of Invincible is I want more Machine Head, because Machine Head is my favorite character in the whole show. I love him every single time he's on the screen. I love it when he talks. I love that he's like sort of become friends with the Titan character at this point. He's like he becomes his best frenemy. Could care less about the stupid dragon guy, but I do love Machine Head so much.
That's what makes this show so unique, is that it can go street level and it still works. And it's like, oh, but now Mark's fighting a dragon. Oh, but now Mark is in space fighting General Zod, essentially, right? Like, this show manages to be like street level Daredevil, Spider-Man comics, and then become like Superman, Justice League, X-Men comics. And I think that's what makes it so interesting, in the way that there's always going to be something new and exciting, and it's not going to get stale, in the way that Daredevil feels like it's in a rut a little bit. This show is going to be like, hey, Mark's going to go to hell this episode. You're going to hate it, but don't worry, we'll bounce back.
Well, one of my favorites, again, circling back to a Machine Head adjacent thing, is that one of my favorite moments of this whole show is when they have the fight with Machine Head and his goons. Battle Beast is introduced just in a wide background shot, just like in the back somewhere. And then in this episode, he beats the living shit out of every single character and almost kills everybody. Just this random cat guy out of nowhere, received no special introduction, and just wails on every single person. That was one of my only complaints about the second to last episode, is that they're all together, like ready to go fight the Viltrumites. And at no point Mark is like, are you the cat thing that like almost murdered me like a couple years ago? Just came out of nowhere and just like were like probably the hardest person I've ever fought in my life.
That's also, if we're keeping a score, Battle Beast also got 0 Viltrumites. Yeah. So like, why is he and Oliver are on the same level right now? They're gonna get cut from the team next time.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Like, I think that's so fun, where it's like, this one of the strongest characters in the verse just happened to be in this street level story for seemingly no reason, because we never really explained why he was a part of this and how he ended up there. Because his whole thing is, I want to be the strongest and I want to die an honorable death. It's like, and you were working with essentially this universe's like Wilson Fisk, really? That's where you ended up.
Tyler brought up another good point. What's the deal with the mummy?
Yeah, I hate that so much.
This is a show original plot line, and I don't know why we're doing it, because it's just a running joke. It's just a running joke.
You know what else was a show original plot line?
What?
The Hell episode.
Yeah. And also that's why this storyline came back in that same episode, because it's like, we've got to address all of this random nonsense. I don't know. Whatever gets Chloe Bennett work, I guess.
What season did that even start in? Because I was like, I'm so like...
I think it was the end of season 1.
Was it? Okay.
It's been going on for a long... It's just been a running bit.
Because remember, season 1 ended with like kind of a montage of like all the villains of the week they'd fought, and you think like that's just gonna be the last time we see him, and it is like, oh nope, the Flaxons are still out there, the Cycloids are still doing stuff. You're gonna see him again eventually. But then there's just this random mummy guy. You're like, oh, I wonder what's going to go on with that. And we still just have no freaking idea what's going on with this mummy.
No.
It's like this sexist mummy guy.
It's a piece of crap. It's just like, all right, I will never have a female host for 3 seasons. And it's just like, okay, whatever, dude. I wonder if Kirkman actually has a really fun idea that he's like, and we're just going to seed this, and we're going to have this like really cool, like, show original arc that he does in like the final season.
Possesses Paul. Paul becomes OP.
Paul's the perfect human, and he's
the perfect specimen. He becomes the Adam Warlock of the Invincible universe.
I will say this isn't like a huge spoiler or anything, but we will see the dinosaur guy again that we saw at the start of this. There's more to that character than we saw in the first He's like introduced as like an evil environmentalist dinosaur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to learn more about what's going on Earth because, quite frankly, the Guardians of the Globe suck.
Yeah.
This current iteration of that team has to be the most uninspired superhero team I've ever seen in my life.
I still, in this is no disrespect to Jay Farrow, who I talked to at one of the premieres. I think it was the Invincible season 3 premiere. Nicest guy on earth, super funny, super talented. What is the purpose of Bulletproof? I have no idea why he's there. What is? I don't even know what his powers are. Does he fly and hit things? Is that all he does?
Yeah, that's all he does. And apparently he has like a story arc that he actually is involved in at some point. So it's probably one of the next arcs that you're going to read.
It'll be in the
that might be next season.
But yeah, it's like I don't know what he does. I like the only interesting character that was here was Rex at this point. Shrinking Ray was also kind of cool, but then we wrote her out of the story too. And I freaking hate Robot so much. Identity theft is not a joke, Jim.
Okay, he's dead in the place. My King Rex explodes.
I just can't fathom for the life of me where he's at this man's funeral. He's like, I'm going to take his name. And it's like, you already took his face. Don't do that. You just stole his whole persona. You're going to steal his social security number next now? Is that what you're going to do? Just take his whole identity? I hate that character so much. I just want to get Monster Girl out the portal and just leave Rudy over there.
You can do a lot better.
Nate, you wanted to talk Miami Vice. We're wrapping up this stream here. What's going on with
that? There's a new one coming out. It just moved. It was supposed to come out August 2027, but now they shifted it to May of 2028, which, what the heck? I mean, give me this movie now so I could have it. Michael B. Jordan continues the tradition set by Jamie Foxx of winning the Oscar for Best Actor. Then a year after winning that Oscar, stars as Tubbs in a Miami Vice movie. But now we're not getting that, which is like a bummer. But anyway, this movie's Joseph Kosinski.
It's very specific.
Which Joseph Kosinski, oh yeah, Top Gun Maverick, F1, Tron Legacy. I am a cult follower of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Only the Brave, super underrated movie. Dan Gilroy writing the script, Nightcrawler, anyone?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it's set in the 80s. Like, I want an 80s sun-soaked Miami. They just announced Claudio Miranda, who was the DP for Top Gun Maverick and F1, Oscar winner. He is also going to be the DP for Miami Vice. My only thing about this movie being delayed is maybe, just maybe, but Austin Butler was just announced for another movie today from Park Chan-wook. But maybe, just maybe, this means Austin Butler will have the time to play Chris Shirless in Heat 2. Because please, for the love of God, make that happen. As much as I love Leonardo DiCaprio, he cannot play that character in Heat 2. He can play somebody else. Okay.
I have a couple theories on why it got delayed. One of them is, I assume, with Joseph at the helm, who is really wants to get the most authentic shots. I assume they're going to be shooting on location in Miami.
Yeah.
If, as anyone who's been to Florida knows, Florida weather is extremely temperamental and unpredictable. And when you think Miami, you think like big clear skies and sunsets. So it's like, I can imagine that's probably a big factor as to why is weather and just getting all that stuff. And the other thing is, I feel like it's still very early, and there's a big rumor that I've been seeing floating around that they want Tom Cruise to play the villain of the movie.
Yeah.
And Tom is Tom. He's in so many different things all at once, and getting him to agree to any project, even one as big as this, is like a big. They're already like most of the way there because like Joseph has such a great working relationship with him, but I think that could also be why I feel like if there's a chance they can get, if those rumors are true and there is a chance they can get Tom in this movie, they're gonna make changes to give themselves as much time as they need to try and make that happen.
You're correct. And I also think with the unpredictable Florida weather, Joseph Kosinski always takes a long time in post. F1 was affected by the strikes anyway, but that was like they cast that movie 2 years before it came out. Top Gun Maverick, before even COVID, like they began shooting it the summer before its original. It was supposed to come out in 2019.
Mhm.
And then like a few weeks into filming, they're like, no, this movie might actually be filming for like a whole year. And that's kind of what happened, weirdly enough. Like he just takes his time in post where it's like, okay. Because he was also announced for like a UFO disclosure movie of his own that's in the works at like Apple. And I've seen some people be like, well, maybe he's working on that first. And it's like, I don't think he's going to do that first. This movie has too big of a budget. He's already built up this cast. There's like rumors about it, you know, them having to get the pay and scheduling worked out with Michael B. Jordan, Austin Butler, which get that bag, Michael B. You just won an Oscar. You're like at the top. Yeah, you deserve like top dollar bill for this. But yeah, he's kind of a perfectionist. Like in the way he's not Martin Scorsese. They're two very different filmmakers, but Martin Scorsese, like there's people being like, oh, could his What Happens at Night be finished in time for this year? It's like, no, it's not. It might be ready for next year, but we still don't know. Killers of the Flower Moon, like that took 2 years after filming to finally release. Same with The Irishman. And Joseph
Michael
Kosinski,
B. I also think the other thing I didn't think of is Michael B. Jordan's schedule. He's doing so many things. He's doing another Creed. He's doing the oh shoot, why am I forgetting the name of the Pierce Brosnan movie where he's
Thomas Crown Affair.
Thomas Crown Affair, thank you. And just announced today, which I'm still not over, the Battlefield movie, which is going to be with Christopher McQuarrie directing that. That's probably something that it seems like they're going to fast track that now to like maybe potentially compete with Taylor Sheridan's Call of Duty movie. But yeah, I'm just glad that they're giving them the time for it. I think for this one in particular, it does seem like it just very recently got the official green light. Mm-hmm. Making a 2027 release date at this point in time would just be really tough, especially like now is, even though it's the summer, now is the worst time for Florida weather. It is hurricane season like nobody's business. So I could see why I get that. I'm very excited for it, and I'm very excited that it's set during the 80s, which means we are going to get that 80s neon aesthetic. So I'm more interested because I liked F1 overall, but I did kind of feel like a lot of the color was washed out of it a little bit.
Yeah,
it fit the tone of the movie well enough, but I've still, I like seeing big, vibrant, cool colors. I feel like that's just makes for a much more striking movie to look at, and he knows how to do that, having worked on movies like Tron Legacy.
Yeah. I have nothing to add. You guys have summed it up perfectly. Where it's like, I'm excited for this movie. Let them take their time with it. They're all busy. This is one of those rare movies where it's everybody at the top of their game, right? So it's like it's gonna be hard to get those schedules lined up properly, especially if the rumors are true and Tom Cruise is in this film. I'm very fascinated to see the continuation of Tom Cruise's career, because for the last decade he's been in like Mission Impossible mode, where it's like I'm doing all these action movies. Him playing a villain in Miami Vice would be really interesting and a really fun turn for him.
Going back to Collateral, one of my favorite roles.
Oh, so good.
Yeah. So if all of that lines up and the rumors are true, I think it makes perfect sense to just push us back a little bit. Also, Michael B. Jordan's schedule is packed, and you already know he's got to be on call for whatever Ryan Coogler's going to do next too. He's got to squeeze that into his schedule.
He's got to be in Black Panther 3 probably as like a flashback again, because I think he is in every single Ryan Coogler movie, right? He's got to be.
Yeah, he's in
no, because he was in, I was trying to think, was he in Wakanda Forever? And he was in like the spirit world.
Yeah, and so they can pull that card again, but also this is going to be post Secret Wars, so he could just be alive again. Yeah. And he could just be a recurring villain, like T'Challa saved him. They're all back,
It was funny because I knew about the Michael B. Jordan cameo in Wakanda Forever, because at Collider, I was in a features pitch meeting. This was like one of my first weeks there. And one of the people, she was like, yeah, I sat next to like Michael B. Jordan's like stylist by chance on a plane. And she told me Michael B. Jordan is back and like explained the full scene of what happens. This was before a trailer even came out. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. And I was like, whoa.
It made perfect sense when it happened. Because of course, with the unfortunate passing of Chadwick, you needed somebody to represent that ancestral plane, right? Of like what character would come out to Shuri. And I think they played that perfectly. It's amazing how good that movie turned out, considering all of the circumstances.
I mean, that's the power of Ryan Coogler.
Yeah. So
I described Wakanda Forever a lot as the first Black Panther. Even though I still really like it, it did kind of feel like a Marvel movie that Ryan Coogler happened to direct. It still felt like Marvel had a lot of control over it.
Yeah.
Wakanda Forever feels like a Ryan Coogler Marvel movie. It feels like he had much more creative control over it. It feels like he was able to do a lot more visually. I think the second movie is leaps and miles better than the first film. There's many great, like, there's even throughout like all the like big like Namor fight scenes, there's just so many like cool camera tricks they use and like depth of field. It all just feels much more real. There's no like, you know, the CGI rhinos in that first movie that just kind of broke the immersion a little bit. Like overall, I think that movie has so much great stuff going for it. And I'm like honestly surprised a lot of people are like, it's not as good as the first one. I'm like, I honestly think it kind of is. I think it is like on the same level as the first film.
There's too much in that movie where it's like, I love so much of the Ryan Coogler stuff, but the Ironheart stuff and the Mike has heard me rant about this every time this movie is brought up, but the stupid Valentina and Everett K. Roth's side plot. I'm like, I don't know, maybe that was only like 5 minutes of the movie. It felt like it was 1 hour of that movie.
Every time Ross is on screen in these Black Panther movies, it feels like an eternity. And it's like
that's true.
It's like, why are we doing this?
I honestly forgot about that whole thing, to be honest.
I was like,
I blocked it from my memory.
I was so pissed, like, because I was like, man, I'm loving the, you know, how they're handling T'Challa's death. Namor's sick.
Namor's so cool. I love what they. One of the few examples of they gave an origin to a name that wasn't in the comics and actually have it be freaking sick.
Yeah.
He's like, he called me El Nino Cinnamon. I'm like, oh, that's so fucking cool.
It's so he's such a great villain.
And I mean, I never really liked the Namor character in the comics. He always annoyed me, which I guess is the point of him.
Yeah, he's supposed to suck.
In the movie, I mean, Namor Nate. Mike knows all of that. Movie, he's sick. I'm glad he's back for Doomsday.
What did you two think of the Ironheart show?
Never watched it.
Never watched it? Mike, do you see it?
Yeah, I reviewed it for Collider. I think that was my last.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I forgot.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! Wow, Ironheart was the last thing I posted on Collider, and the next day I left. It was crazy. But Ironheart, I enjoyed it. I think to me it has some story problems that I don't like. We're gonna spoil Ironheart, guys. It's been long enough, and Nate doesn't care. But
I know Mephisto shows up.
That's not even the thing that I'm complaining about. My thing is,
he was actually pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah, like it was fine. It worked. To me, I think maybe it was just also the time the show came out, because it came out during the height of like all this AI pushing, and it's like I don't know if Natalie works for me, where it's like a person is dead, and this AI replica we are pretending is a real person, and that is weird and uncanny and uncomfortable. And it's not the same as like, well, Vision and Jarvis were always a computer type deal. It's like he was brought to life by the Soul Stone. This was an actual person who is still dead, but now a computer is just like mimicking her essence. And I'm supposed to feel bad about this for some reason. And that was weird to me. I think the cast was good. I actually thought Anthony Ramos as a villain was okay for a Disney Plus show. I do think the character of Ironheart is better in the series than she was in just like the 5 minutes we got of her in Wakanda Forever. So I would like to see Riri again, but
she pissed me. Can I go on one side tangent?
Go for it.
She pissed me off in Wakanda Forever so much. Like, how does she stand like a chance in the fight against the Atlanteans, but then Okoye gets like her butt kicked. It's like Okoye trained her whole life for that. How can a college kid take a fight, but Okoye can't? I'm sorry.
Because she likes Iron Man. Or actually, no, she kind of hates Iron Man, to be honest.
That's also a strange change, but I guess we gave all of the Ironheart isms to Peter Parker. So
yeah.
But
one thing I did really like about it was that
yeah.
I love that Riri. It was made it very clear that Riri was a fallible character. They did not try to make her like the perfect. I'm trying to find every single way to avoid using the term Mary Sue because that's such a charged word. Because I don't want to say that, but like they didn't want to make her like this squeaky clean character.
Yeah. She's very flawed.
And I think that led to a lot of very interesting moral dilemmas for her, and she made a lot of decisions that maybe weren't the right decisions. And I'm sure people online would be like, "Why would she make that decision? It doesn't make any sense." It's like, okay, well, if it's a human reaction to a human scenario. So even if you don't agree with it from a moral standpoint, it's still something a character. That's what I feel like so many people miss when they complain about all these shows. My big complaint with it was I was not convinced by Anthony Ramos as the Hood. Like I think that character is so cool in the comics, and
he's not the comic character at all. No,
not even close. Not even kind of close. And it was just like it almost kind of felt like what it sounds like they're going to do with Taskmaster, where they kind of just pass the mantle on to a different character. It kind of seems like that's what they're going to do with the Hood at some point.
Taskmaster, Hood, Muse. It's just we're gonna have legacy villains now.
Yeah. More question.
Yeah, Nate.
Does Mephisto say "my wife" in it at all?
God damn it!
All right.
One thing that is actually really cool about Mephisto is that every time they see him, he's like dressed different and like has a different accent and like acts completely different than he did before. So like it was. Not only does that obviously like fit Sacha Baron Cohen, I thought that was like kind of a unique, quirky character trait that because rumors of a Midnight Suns movie are true. We might see him again.
Outside of like the weird Natalie AI replica thing, subplot they were doing, I do at least appreciate where it's like it made Riri remember the good times she had with her best friend. And so when Mephisto presents that offer where it's like, I can bring your friend back to life, of course Riri would take that, and it would justify that decision. Again, her being extremely flawed, it's like, well, you made a deal with the devil himself, basically. It's like, yeah, but of course she would make that choice, considering the circumstances and everything that happened throughout the story that thus far. So as far as the MCU shows go, I do think it's one of the better ones overall, even though I do have some story problems with it, but I've got story problems with all the Marvel shows except for Loki for the most part. I
also did really enjoy Nate, spoiler for another big character if you care, but I loved maybe it's just become I'm a big Solo defender, but I love Alden Ehrenreich as Ezekiel Stane. Again, really cool character from the comics. Not exactly the same character here in the comics. He's like a full-blown like Lex Luthor, like serial killer type of guy. Here he's not quite that, but like it was still like just very cool to see that character on screen in some way. I think the mix of tech and magic too is what makes this very unique, where it's like very fun idea. Yeah, it's weird because one of the most like iconic Phase 1 lines of Thor is just like, magic is science you don't understand, and it's like, how did we not have a story that actually like melded the two? Yeah. We had a magic-based Avenger and a science-based Avenger, basically from its inception, and we've never actually, like, we didn't really have Strange and Stark, right, like, properly have a full adventure together outside of the moments they had in Infinity War. So I think that was a fun idea. I just don't know if I liked it in Riri's first outing. I honestly think Armor Wars, like, if you threw in Don Cheadle in this, probably would have fit an origin story for Riri a little bit better. And then we can do some more of the magic, like, unique stuff with it. I would have actually really liked to see, like, Rhodey be Riri's kind of mentor. Because, like, in the comic, she's not mentored by Tony Stark. She's mentored by, like a hologram, like AI version of Tony Stark. Almost like a Jarvis type. Yeah, exactly. That situation. I'm also bummed we never got, there was concept art that leaked for, like, a canceled, like, I think it was going to be like a What If spinoff or something, where it was going to be following. I think it was literally called Iron Man 3000, and it was a speed racer inspired Iron Man show about his daughter becoming like the next Iron Man. It's like she's a
that's interesting.
race car racer or something, and it looked really interesting, but kind of wish we got that. But it's just one added to the category of Marvel projects that never happened.
And now Iron Man is Doctor Doom, so that's cool.
See if that works.
That's a convo for another day, though. But anything else you guys want to talk about, or are we at the end of stream?
I'm pretty darn excited for the Mummy 4.
Me too.
Oh yeah, we got that.
That got moved up today. That kind of crazy that they actually switched places with Miami Vice, so that's now releasing. It was going to be in May 2028. Now it's going to be in, I think, October 2027.
Yep.
And it's crazy that movie is actually happening.
I feel like it's a summer movie, but I guess to cash in on like Halloween.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially for like horror night stuff, like they could definitely do something like that.
Yep. It's called The Mummy, so you got to put it in October. I'm very still shocked that actually is happening after we've had so many different iterations of The Mummy. We just had another Mummy movie just come out.
I reviewed it.
Yeah.
It was one of the movies I've seen.
Lovely.
It was actually crazy. Taylor Gates and I, Taylor who worked at Collider, we went to Halloween Horror Nights one time, and we were in line for The Mummy, and we were like, "Dang, it'd be really cool if they made another one of these." The literal next day, what do I see on Hollywood Reporter? Brendan Fraser's making another Mummy movie. I'm like, I summoned it. I cast a spell, and we got a Mummy movie now.
You and Taylor manifested the heck
we were
out
next
of that.
to the Book of the Dead, and we accidentally cast a spell to get a new Mummy movie with Brendan Fraser.
At least Brendan Fraser is in this Mummy movie. You're not wrong, Tyler. You're not wrong.
And Rachel Weisz and John Hannah. They're both coming back.
Fun stuff. I think, I don't know. I feel like we just kind of willed that movie into existence, and that's exciting.
Yeah, they were like, people like Brendan Fraser again. Let's put him in a new movie.
I already saw on social media that everybody's like, well, we got to get David Cornswell to play his son, right? And I'm like, oh, that actually might kind of work.
Who played his son in the third one that's like not canon anymore?
Ooh.
I forget.
Hold on.
The Mummy 3.
Mummy, the third one. Mummy, the one where the Yetis somehow know what football is.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Luke Ford was Alex O'Connell.
Yeah, we.
Oh my God, we got Davos was in it. Yeah.
The date flip is interesting. I didn't know that movie was as far along as it was.
They've been casting it where I was like, why is this not coming out to 2028? Because like they were a few weeks ago, they said like, about John Hannah being back, and I was like, oh, but this isn't even coming out until 28. Okay.
Tyler and Nate have the same sense of humor.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Chris Pratt should play it.
It's me, the Mummy.
Yes.
Oh gosh, Chris Pratt. I still can't believe Chris Pratt tried even less in the second Mario movie than he did in the first one. I can't believe that happened. I really can't believe that happened.
I didn't put any stake in that movie. I just saw Yoshi, and I was just happy he was there. And then I wish they didn't spoil him before the movie came out, but the Star Fox stuff was like so hype. I was like, this is movies, whatever. But man, Glenn Powell as Star Fox is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Apparently, he also is the one that like willed that into existence too. Where he's like, "Hey, put Star Fox in the movie and make me Star Fox." They were just like, "All right, all right, Top Gun guy."
I also I remember I saw there was like fan casting for it, and I'm like, I saw one was like, all right, who should play Falco Lombardi? I'm like, his last name's Lombardi. He's Italian. It'd be very funny if they cast like a hardcore Italian, like Sebastian Maniscalco or something as Falco.
Yes. He was in the first
Mario
one.
sounds like Chris Pratt.
Sebastian Maniscalco was in the first.
Oh yeah, he's like the bully character, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he's Spike.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I forgot Spike was in that movie. I'm not gonna lie, that's crazy. So many references in Mario.
Yeah.
Love it and hate it at the same time. I've got such a lovely relationship.
I had a great time watching it, to be honest.
It's, they do their job, and I can't be too mad about it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go on a rant about how these mindless kids movies are ruining cinema. That's a video for another day. But whatever pays the bills, I feel like you need those big event movies to justify these smaller ones. Like Superman and Supergirl and Man of Tomorrow are paying so we can have a Clayface movie, and I accept that. I accept our fate when it comes to that. But guys,
that is a hell of a way to bring everything full circle. That was impressive. You really brought it all back to the start. That was great.
That's what I do. It's been a fun stream.
You're good at this.
I know, right? Guys, if you want me to keep doing podcasts, and if you want Leo to let us keep doing this, because he's not here, shout out to you, bro. Enjoy vacation. Like, subscribe on Geekly Goods. Also, follow on the Novice Cinephile, TikTok, and the other places. You know where to find us. Aiden, thank you for joining us. Where can the folks find you?
Well, you can find me on realaidenkelly.bluesky.social. If I ever actually post on there, I don't do it nearly enough. I probably should. You can also find my work at collider.com. I do reviews, and I also write news when we don't have a news writer who is available to write, which is always fun and never stressful or nerve-inducing at all whatsoever. And yeah, that's you can find me there.
Awesome.
That gave me so much anxiety, me being on the screen by myself.
It always freaks everybody out, and I don't know why Leo does it, but I'm maintaining the integrity of his show.
Yeah, you're keeping the format. That's good.
Nate, you get your close-up. Where can the fine folks find you?
Yay. You can find me at Nate Knows Movies across most social media platforms, except on Instagram. That's NateRichard98. I should probably change that. You can also find me on Substack.
Let's go.
Richard. My Substack is Movie Hound. I also contribute to Film Yap. I just got 2 reviews up there yesterday. One was a mini review for a movie coming out in a few months that is called Carolina Caroline. And then the other review is for another movie that also has Samara Weaving in it, and it's called Over Your Dead Body, which is a lot of fun. So, yeah.
Sweet. And again, subscribe on the channels, on my channel. I guess I'll give myself the awkward solo layout. Hold on.
Yay.
There we go. You can expect an episode of Comic Book Chatter. That's a new show. We're going to be talking comic books with Joel and Clef. We're doing the Absolute Universe, and then the end of the Absolute Universe and the rise of the DC new line that they're doing for what's that new book that they're doing? I think it's a new Teen Titans, a new Teen Titans. We're gonna be talking about that, and of course the Ultimates as well, because Marvel just said we're not gonna do that anymore. Even though you guys liked it, we're gonna go back making crappy Spider-Man stories. Even though we gave him a wife and kids, and everybody kind of liked that run, we're gonna throw that away because we're Marvel and we don't care. So we're talking about that on the Comic Book Show. We're gonna be talking movies as always on Insider Chatter. And I'm sure Isaac and I are going to do a My Hero Academia thing because the show had its series finale, but now they're doing a bonus episode where we're doing a time jump and all the kids are adults now. So that's a thing too.
Is this like Conformity Gate?
Kind of, I believe. And if you guys believe as well, hit the like button and we will see you guys next time.